Afternoon, Mr. Williams.
Good afternoon.
My name is Jamil. I'm an executive producer of Gully TV. I profess to be the best in the business when it comes to urban media. That's how we landed in front of each other this afternoon. I'm very interested in your story. I got basically a 5 points, and I'd like for you to bring me up to your incarceration. What earned you the 30 years in 1991?
Caught up in conspiracy to 10 kilos of powder cocaine. I wasn't really familiar with the conspiracy laws back then, right? When somebody told me about the situation, I was like in disbelief. I was like, nah, they can't do nothing like that, you know. But after a year went by, they came in kicking in my doors and asked me to turn myself in. And they placed me on American Most Wanted, but you know, I went on the run.
Okay. Can you give me a little bit of insight on your background in Miami? What part of the city you were from? What neighborhood?
I grew up in Liberty City.
Okay.
Across the street from the village and a few blocks away from the Pork and Bean Project in the housing part. I went to prison, in the state prison in '84, and got out of '88 and traveled north and towards Atlanta to build me an empire and try to make things much better than what it was in Miami, because you know the market in Miami was kind of difficult. You know, there wasn't really no money there.
Okay. What year did y'all arrive in Atlanta?
We arrived in Atlanta in '88.
1988.
1988.
When y'all got to Atlanta, y'all didn't have a particular name. Y'all were given the Miami Boys because
you were given the name through the people that stayed here. They knew we was from Miami, so they say, "We're the Miami Boys," and the name just stuck.
Okay. Prior to that, did y'all have a name?
No. No, we didn't have a name.
So this wasn't an organization. This is just some homies trying to go get some money.
It was just some homies trying to get some money, and we had our different groups when we was in our city. You know, you had Opalaka, you had Carrier City, you had Overtown guys. Everybody had their different groups inside their neighborhoods. But when we branched off into different cities, the title of the Miami Boys came with us arriving in that city.
Okay. According to Google, by 1996, they got y'all out of the city entirely. Was there some specific instances or incidents that occurred in Atlanta that made y'all high profile?
What made us high profile, I think, is the bringing of the drugs up in Atlanta, and it's a few incidents. A lot of things happened in the midst of us being up here that was, you know, they accounted us for. So that what made us high profile. You know, how our style, the mouth full of golds, the dreads, you know, that type of nature, and that took us to a whole nother level.
Got it. At your peak, do you feel the 30 years? Do you feel that you earned the 30 years? Like at your peak, what type of paper was you playing with?
I look at a lot of things happen for a reason. I mean, I had a short period of time from '88 to 1990. I touched a few million, you know, and I really had no lifespan in what I was doing at that time. Of course, at that time, it was, like I say, I stayed out for 2 years. And I made a landmark within them 2 years that a lot of people was impressed by. It was like, man, he just got out and he did all this. This man making $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a day. You know what I'm saying? And I just had got out. I wasn't out no more than 90 days, 120 days, 6 months.
Prior to that. So the street hustler's equation, which is at times a distorted dream, leads to a guy being hot for 2 summers and getting a 30-year sentence, or possibly life. Some niggas got life.
Yeah, some people got life, yeah.
During those 2 summers. I'm not, singling out your situation, but generally a hustler's career might be very, very short, mm-hmm. and the sentence extremely long.
In a 2-year span, I mean, I put myself in a predicament that I was facing the death penalty. So, I mean, I was faced with more than just time, My life was on.
Now, you just mentioned the death penalty. I wasn't going to mention it if you didn't mention it. When I asked you about the 30 years, you said basically it was 10 bricks of coke or something like that. Yes, but when your name, according to the Department of Justice, there was some other things, some other components in your case.
Yes, sir.
Would you care to elaborate? If you don't want to go there, just say so.
I mean, I was facing the death penalty under a new statute that had applied for drug kingpins.
Okay.
And that statute landed me to being the first death row inmate in the state of Georgia and in the feds. Later on down the line, other cases occurred, but the main focus was like a test case with me to see how to apply that to drug lords or drug kingpins.
Right. How far into your incarceration was it before you started to really embrace theology? Because I see that your metamorphosis from caterpillar to butterfly led you to religion. I see you got a book right now. Explain the transition. How long was it before the word actually began to shape your character?
At 2 years into my bid, my first years inside the institution, they landed me inside confinement because of my status. And because by me being inside that cell, to me it was like a cocoon. It gave me time.
You went to a USP, of course, though, right?
Yeah, I was in the USP. I was in a few USPs.
Okay.
And it started me to think, but it happened in my first couple of years inside the prison. I say, man, I got to do something because I see myself doing time for something that really they had nothing on me. It was just a conspiracy, a lot of chit chat and talk, and people coming before you saying they know something about you. They ain't never had no facts. So I had to get down and talk to myself and make myself see that where can I be a factor to show the public that, man, these people really railroading you, And if you don't agree with what they doing, then you're going to suffer the consequences.
Right. Okay. Of course, this required a lot of reading and meditation for you to, reach the state of consciousness.
Yes, sir.
Any you all having some impact on you?
You're freezing up, or I ain't hear the question.
Were there any particular books that you read while incarcerated that had an impact on your life? Me, it was I read a book by Nathan McCall called Makes Me Want to Holler, and the autobiography of Malcolm X had some impact on me immediately.
I read the ISIS papers. It had
okay.
And I read Behold the Pale Horse.
Okay.
A few other books. To start thinking.
We're breaking up a little bit. H, we good over there?
Are you breaking up?
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. All right. During the course of your you said you spent 2 years earning that 30-year sentence. The Miami boy story, is that an OT story? Is that an out of town story? Is there a portion of the story that began in Miami? Like, did y'all leave there together? I see you got in 1996 the final alleged Miami boy member was put away, Michael Delancey. Well, did y'all have relationships back home?
A lot of these groups, like I said, a lot of these groups was individual groups from different parts of our town. And,
Right.
And the label came as when we came to other cities. You know, that title came with us traveling from different parts.
Right.
So in certain cases we weren't familiar with certain guys, you know.
Okay. So this is one of those situations where you got charged with somebody and you like, I don't know him, or I ain't never did nothing with him.
Yeah, it's cases like that. Yeah, it's cases like that.
How do you rectify something like that? Is there a certain a severance required, a severance motion or something like that?
No, if they tag that individual with you, you just got to fight the situation until you be victorious. If not, then you're gonna suffer the consequences of what they attach to you.
Right. While incarcerated, social media and the internet became very, very big. They have documentaries.
Oh no, you broke up. Say that again.
Yeah, say that again. You can't hear you.
Okay. I said while you were incarcerated, the internet, social media became very, very lucrative and very, very popular. There was a documentary published on, a lot of street tales in Miami called MIAO. Are you familiar with this production?
Yes, sir.
Tell me how you felt about it. I happen to enjoy it. How did you feel about it being as though you were actually a player out in the streets of Miami?
I mean, I support the cause, right? And when it came to me, I looked at it as, helping a young black man, try to be successful. He came with an idea that nobody never thought of, and I say, okay, I looked at it like, okay, let me try to help this brother. I wasn't looking for nothing out of the situation. I just looked at it as, just being helpful towards any black man that's trying to do something for themselves. Okay.
It turned out really, really good. Do you feel it was an overall good look for the city? Did it chronicle everyone's exploits pretty accurate?
I know a lot of the players that was involved in that situation, and it shined a good light on the city that we evolved from one point in life until now. It's a lot of dudes like myself. We don't evolve. We're not just walking in place. We understand our past, and then we move it towards our future. So, yeah, I think it's a good impact.
Let me ask you something. I'm hearing this a lot. My platform is predicated upon hip hop, sports, and fashion, and I do this regionally. I visit different cities, and I kind of tap into the cultures and things like that. And the Miami is associated with the big truck jewelry. Based on some of my interviews, the taste for the big truck jewelry, the big pieces of jewelry, seems to be rooted in the islands. What's your take on Miami, the gold teeth, the island people, and the big truck jewelry? He like that. Give me a take on that.
I'm one of the authentic masters of that game. So
Yeah, man, talk it, man. I want to hear it, man.
I'm one of the trendsetters, but I mean, if I say that, then you got different divisions gonna say something different. So.
Nah, I want to know, but I went there because while watching the MIA documentary, Bo Diddley, Big Ike, all of these guys, they were all big. They trucked up. You know what I'm saying?
When I came up, you had guys that had 2 or 3 goals at the top and 2 at the bottom or 3 at the bottom. I came up with an idea. I said, man, you try to outdo the next man. You want to be flashy. So I came out and put a grill to the top and bottom, and everybody thought it was weird. They were like, man, you ain't gonna be able to get no job. I said to myself, hey, I'm a job.
Right.
Producer. Why would I have to worry about how somebody view me when I'm the breadwinner of the house? So
right.
So I don't need a job. So and everybody thought that was funny. So I came up with that concept. Goals have always been a fashion down there in Miami, right? But it wasn't ever to that nature where everybody doing 20. The whole mouth. Top and bottom. And I brought that to the forefront, right? The big trunk jewelry, it came to play. A lot of, the Cubans came in with the Cuban links, and it became a fashion, and everybody started getting the big chunk jewelry, the rope changes, that was like hollow, you want to put on something that has some weight to it, so when the person, they feel it, they can really this costs some money,
Was there any a specific jeweler or shopping district where all of the hustlers, a specific jeweler that all of the hustlers frequented?
A lot of people went to the Seaport building downtown. That's a major place where a lot of jewelry was sold. High priced jewelry and flashy diamonds, and you had your Javinia watches, your Rolexes, and all different type of watches. As time evolved. That's
right. Where did you go to get dressed at? Where did you go to get tailored? Where'd you go get your gaiters and all of that? I'm trying to estimate what you was doing based on your incarceration.
I got somebody heard of. I was going to Epney, and I was going in the falls and different places. I was going to FG Bogan. They come to your house in a limousine and come pick you up and take you in and tell her your clothes on. I was, at a young age, so them names, I don't know if they still surfacing that during this time. Now, this 30, 40 years later, the FG Bowl.
Right.
What I'm saying? Like I say, the Epney, and, I was going on Flagler Street shopping, and I was going on 167th Street, like I say, to the malls and down south, the South malls.
What year was your first year encountering crack cocaine? What year did it touch your organization or your neighborhood?
I was familiar with it right before I got into I went before in the state joint. It was circling around in like 83.
Okay.
In 1983 or 84. And
when you went to the state, prior to becoming the Miami Boys, was you a hustler prior? When you went to the state, was you a hustler then?
Yeah, I was.
A lot of people was on robbery shit back then. Before drugs became prevalent, a lot of older guys were bank robbers and stick-up boys and shit like that.
Nah, I stuck out like a sore thumb. I tried to rob back in the days, but seemed like I was kind of tall. Everybody could point me out. So I knew that wasn't my game. I got in the lane that I feel comfortable with. See, I somebody else's lane because that wasn't for me. So I got in the coke game, and the coke was the high popular seller during the time before I went to the state. There was a little crack on the scene right then, but it wasn't really relevant. But when I got out the state joint, it was more over. It was powerful, and everybody was on it. You couldn't sell. When I got back, you couldn't sell the coke. So,
right.
So only way you sell it is in weight quantity. You got thousands of keys, and you sell 50 here, 30 there, and that's the only way you can sell it to the person that's buying it, to convert it.
Right. During your heyday is kind of consistent with the heyday of the Miami Hurricanes football organization. Tell me something about that, man. I know you was running into them wild niggas in the clubs and shit like that.
Yeah. I've been a dude all my life. I've been blind all my life, so you know, I don't pick and choose things that come before me. You know, if it come my way, you know, I deal with it accordingly to how it come to me. You know, I never been a dude that pick and choose. You know, I always been a man. I think like this. I don't get in the man way. You know, I respect each man, regardless or status, size, or whatever the case may be. But
Right.
if a person violate, then you know, you trying to check that person is doing, you know, whatever, however it come to you. So you know, like I say, I ain't no pick and choose dude.
Okay. Back then in this era when y'all got dressed, when you put on your golds and your gold chains and your slacks, where did you go? Where did you go show out at? What was the stage?
You know, we went to Sensation, Magic City, the Blue Fang, you know. And I came in there like a boxer, you know. I put my hand on my men them shoulders, you know. It was showtime, you know, when we hit the corner, you know. You know, all eyes was gonna be on us. You know, we was chunked up, big jury, you know. All eyes was on us. So, you know, it wasn't no strain on us when we went in the club, you know.
Okay. How do you feel about Luther Campbell and the 2 Live Crew?
Man, that's my man. We grew up from babies, you know.
Oh yeah?
Yeah,
Tell me something about Luke, man.
that's my dude, you know what I'm saying? We childhood, you know, friends, you know. I mean, we went our separate ways, you know. I chose another avenue and he chose the rap scene. So, you know,
Right.
you know, I salute him, you know. I like success. So when a person became successful, you know, I tip my hat to that, you know. That's my man, you know. We still in contact till this day, you know.
Right. So you got a chance to see them going from having the little parties in the park to 2 Live Crew?
Yeah, to 2 Live Crew. You know, he started on the park, DJing on the parks, and then he went from the parks to the skating rings, and
right,
you know,
Pack Jam.
To the Pack Jam. By the time I came out of prison, you know, he had a club, and he was moving on with the 2 Live Crew.
Right. How long did it take for you to put this book together?
It took a few years, you know. I had deep thought. I went in deep concentration, and I had to give something back to the people, you know, something that was relevant, you know. So I say I got to put this together and make this thing work, you know.
Right.
It took me a few years.
What does it consist of? Is this a biography? Is this self-help, or what is it?
It's a book about structure, values that I see today that we have lost. So, you know, I'm putting back, if a person take this book up and read it, here's structure inside this book. A lot of our black brothers has lost structure. You know, that's why they venture into the streets as well as myself, you know. So that's what this book about, structure.
Okay. You broke up just a little bit. Can you repeat the last part of your narrative?
I said this book is about structure. And I mean, like I said, I was a young man once, a while back, and I needed structure. I went towards the streets and wasn't no, you know, it was values and principles around the neighborhood. And this, what you see today is not relevant right now. So now this structure is inside this book. If you pick this book up and read it, there's a lot of valuable jewels inside this book. Right. And that's what this book is formed about, structure.
Kind of, yeah.
It's a hood Bible.
During the era of the Miami Boys and growing up in Miami, how much of Miami did you actually see? How much of the movie Scarface was real?
I mean, that's our era. We grew up in that time, and what you see, that's what it is, you know. I mean, dude was living like that, you know. You had
so a black man could meet a Cuban or a Colombian back then and get some love.
Yes, sir. We grew up in the same neighborhoods together. That's our neighborhood. That's our culture, you know.
Okay.
and nothing ever. The times ain't changed. It's still the same. I grew up with the Cubans,
Right on.
Colombians, you know, different cultures.
Give me some insight on your lineage. You 100% black, or you have some island heritage?
I'm 100% black.
No doubt. Them niggas from the island, they 100% black too.
Yeah. You know, I'm just Americanized.
I'm gonna make sure I buy a copy of your book, man, and support what you're doing. I hope that your message falls upon the right ears, and hopefully some people can make some changes based on the mistakes that you made.
Sure.
Sometimes theology, and not just theology, information is hard to communicate, depending on who the reciprocal is. You dig what I'm saying? And depending on who's delivering it. The people who need the message most is from the streets. The streets that, you know, that you came from. So again, I hope that your message is well received amongst the youth and adults as well. And if there's anything I ever can do to help you, I'm at your disposal, man. I appreciate you joining us today.
Yes, sir.